sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. You know, all they want to do, all the American people need to know this, because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader.
As the world changes and best friends they become strangers, watching for the danger, just go and get your paper. As the world changes and best friends they become strangers, watching for the danger, just go and get your. Alright, we tuning back into NaNTV. You know what it is. We starting this morning off with some fresh, hot black coffee, baby. Yeah, it's time to wake up. Our discussion today is going to be, seems to be a lot of missing Native women going on here in Alaska lately. That's going to be our topic of today. You know, we're not here to troll it. We're here to patrol it and talk about it and report it to the people, man, of what's really going on with the missing indigenous women of Alaska. You know, so we're gonna get into that. Stay tuned, baby. NaNTV.
Testing Anchorage police tonight. Friends and family of an Alaska Native woman missing for the last 5 years sent police a message today at headquarters telling our investigative reporter Johnson Kuhn, in their view, APD has shown negligence. Johnson.
That's right, Joe. The missing person case we're talking about is Cassandra Lee Boskovsky, the Alaska Native woman who was 38 years old when she disappeared in Anchorage in August of 2019. We want to be very clear here. We've spent the day waiting for APD to respond to her loved one's calls for answers that we heard today.
I would like APD to reopen the investigation.
Cassandra Boskovsky's cousin Marcella,
We want answers!
one of many of her friends, family, and supporters displaying red handprints over their mouths on Friday, using the symbol of missing and murdered Indigenous women to protest outside Anchorage police headquarters in the rain to say how they feel APD has badly handled the Boskovskys' investigation.
I think that the public needs to know that APD ignored this case for so long, and they need to be held accountable, whether it's in court or they publicly acknowledge what they did. But this can't be swept under the rug, because it just shows how little they care about missing and murdered Indigenous women.
We want answers!
Anchorage police so far have not responded to our request to those concerns. But in an affidavit where her cousin reports her missing, she says the last time they saw her was August 3rd of 2019.
Where is Cassandra?
You know, our goals with the protest is just to raise awareness about Cassandra, because she's been forgotten for 5 years. And we're demanding that they tell us where they searched, if they searched, and where we can search. Because we just want to bring her home to her family.
Justice for Cassandra! Justice for Cassandra!
And for those closest to Cassandra, they feel they've waited long enough for answers from police.
You guys need to do better. Way better.
Cassandra's friends and family wanted anyone watching to know there is a $500 reward being offered for any information that helps answer where she is.
All right, we tuning back into NaNTV. You know what it is, man. Let's start this morning off with some fresh, hot black coffee. You know, we're going to get to talking about the missing Indigenous women of Alaska. It seems to be a thing going on here. I'm gonna call it like I see it. I think there's some serial killer that moved up here from the lower 48, preferably a middle-aged white male, running around practicing how to snatch women up. And what better place than to move to Alaska, where it's all secluded and it's nothing but wilderness, nothing but trees. And that's a perfect place to go for a serial killer to go practice how to snatch women, or whatever his fetish is. You know, the missing children, they're missing everybody. You know what I'm saying? This and nobody's on their job. They too busy focusing on, you know, shooting Native people and stealing their kids and all that kind of stuff. But when it come to missing Native women and the serial killers running around, running amok, probably hiding in one of their departments. Who knows? We don't know which one. I wouldn't put it past it. You know, you can't think that everybody that works in a certain place, it'd be like if I walked in Wendy's, or I walked in McDonald's, or I walked in anywhere, I guarantee you, out of all them people employed there, somebody got some twisted stuff going on in their head. I can guarantee it. Pretty much put money on it, you know. But yeah, today we're going to be pulling up, you know, getting to the facts of these missing women. And we're going to talk about the Kelly Hunt situation, how she came up missing. You know, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff going on why nobody's looking for her. I pulled up some stuff. You know, I like to do a little bit of research, do my own homework, you know. Stay well informed is what I call it. You know, you never know. So yeah, I'm going to start this one off and pull this up for y'all. As of 2026, Alaska continues to face a critical, underreported crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women. While comprehensive 2026 data is not yet finalized, multiple Alaska Native women have been reported missing in Anchorage since November 2025. As of January 2025, 20 Indigenous people were listed as missing, with 69% of 2024 Alaska Native murder victims being women. Key findings for 2025 and 2026. The 2026 status as of March, community reports indicate multiple young Alaska Native women have gone missing in Anchorage, including recent cases like Dominic Jade Smith. The 2025 data in January, the Alaska Department of Public Safety reported 20 missing Indigenous persons out of a total of 1,359 missing person cases. Huh. Wow. In 2024, for the year 2024, Alaska DPS reported that 69% of American Indian Alaska Native murder victims were women and girls. Total number of missing Native women in Alaska is likely higher than official statistics due to underreporting, misclassification of race, and jurisdictional challenges between tribal, state, and federal law enforcement. Ongoing challenges. Advocates and studies such as those from Data for Indigenous Justice highlight Alaska consistently ranks among the highest in the nation for missing and murdered Indigenous women cases. The crisis is compounded by a lack of law enforcement in many rural villages. So that's probably where the snake in the grass is getting you, because you get these people that move up here from the lower 48 and they want to live off the grid. They want to live in a rural area where there's not a lot of people and you can get away with a lot of, you know, nefarious behavior. So yeah, that's what's going on. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's going on. I mean, that's, you know, like now everybody just got to get on their job and figure out what the heck is going on. Why can't we pinpoint Kelly Hunt's last place on a camera somewhere, showing her go here, here, and there? You guys have no clue. You know why there's no priority to look for that? Because she's a Native woman. I'm gonna just keep it 100 with you. These people don't want to look for no Native people. They could care less, to be honest. It's systemic racism. I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you. I don't know why everybody's putting up a fuss, putting up a roar. Hey, why ain't this being done? It ain't being done because they don't give a shit. That's why it ain't being done. The only way it's gonna get done is to educate our Native brothers and sisters, the black brothers and sisters, everybody, white brothers and sisters, Spanish brothers and sisters, Samoan brothers and sisters. You need to be very careful when you're out and about. You need to have your awareness at a heightened sense of awareness. Like, you need to be able to sense danger. You need to be like Tupac and see death around the corner. Because you can't just be walking through this world no more happy-go-lucky thinking everything's going to be okay. Because I'm telling you, there's nefarious behaviors going on out there. And they at an all-time high right now. You got a lot of weirdos. But like I was saying, they're not going to put a top priority to look for Annie from you know, wherever, you know, from some village in the middle of Alaska. But let it be Diane, white lady, you know, they gonna move the earth, the sun, the galaxy. They gonna look everywhere for her, man. Believe that. And they'll find her within a prompt amount of time. They'll put every resource they got into it. They're not going to put all their resources into finding Native women. That's not a top priority. That's not on the agenda. That costs money. Taxpayer money. And they'd rather use that money to do other stuff like, you know, racial profile, maybe kill a Native guy or a black guy, or who knows, you know. That's what they do. That's what the job is about. You know, it's not about finding people. That's not a goal for them, especially Native women. You know, I can tell you in multiple cities all across America, you know, back through the 60s and 70s and the 80s, a lot of black women and Indian women would come up missing. And there was no top priority to find these women at all. So, yeah. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to get into this story about Kelly Hunt, how she came to Anchorage and never made it back home. You know, it's a pretty sad story. You know, my mom got a friend named Mona. She's from Fairbanks. But her son, Jonathan, 10 years ago, he's a native man. He went to a party. He went to this party, told everybody he was going to a party. He went to this party, and he was never seen again. And when his mom tried to ask the state troopers and all them, hey, can you find my son? Can somebody help me find my son? There was no top priority in finding him. I don't even think he's been found to this day. They had to just declare him dead because he's been missing so long that we got to declare him dead. We don't know where he's at, you know? It's a sad story, man. So it's not just happening to Native women. It's happening to Native men. It's happening to anybody who is having a lack of heightened awareness. You got to be on your P's and Q's, man. There's a sicko running around. And the only way we're going to stop him is to keep our eyes open. And when we feel like something's wrong, we get him instead of him getting you. You know what I'm saying? You know how it go. But yeah, we're going to take this break. We're going to check out some clips about Kelly Hunt, and we'll be right back. NaNTV, baby, bringing you the real.
We start with continued coverage. 19-year-old Shaktoolik woman has been missing since January, chanting, "Bring Kelly home." Her loved ones held signs at last month's state basketball tournament.
Now, that chanted name, Kelly, is for Kelly Hunt, who never made it back to college after stopping in Anchorage.
She's been missing for 3 months now. Augusta McDonald takes a look at the multiple efforts to find Kelly, and here's what she learned.
Missing posters of 19-year-old Kelly Hunt are still hanging around the Spenard neighborhood where she was last seen. Family tells me she was on her way to Soldotna for a semester at college.
We just have some questions about the Kelly Hunt case.
We went back to her last known location where she was staying with a friend from school.
I guess describe to me what happened then, that you knew she was going to be here for like a couple of days, right?
Her friend and the other people in the home who last saw Kelly don't want to be on camera. But they told me she walked out the door around 6 a.m. the morning of January 7th.
I'm curious who's come and talked to you and asked you questions about what happened.
We're also asking what steps were taken after Kelly was reported missing on January 11th. Her family told me they thought she made it to Soldotna and immediately alerted police when they found out she hadn't. Anchorage police spokespeople told us they sent out a rave alert via text and email at 11:45 p.m. the same night she was reported missing, which they say is the most effective way to quickly reach a large number of people. Her older brother flew to Anchorage on the 12th to look for her and turned over her iPad and laptop to police. The people living here told me no one checked the security camera above the door. We confirmed the card was full and did not record the night Kelly went missing.
So everything we did was just online.
Kelly's family hired a private investigator who asked to remain anonymous to do an initial search.
What was the initial information that you had?
We had a last known place where she was, which we visited that place, got some information from some of the people, and then just tried to track her down from that point. The case went pretty cold at that point.
Anchorage police say while they can't share information about ongoing investigations, the case has been assigned to homicide unit detectives, which is APD policy, and they're actively following up on leads.
Her family reached out to me. I made that flyer for them.
MMIP advocate Antonia Comack began searching for Kelly the day she was reported missing.
It was very concerning to me from the very beginning because her brother Edward told me that she left her belongings at that house. What young girl leaves without their purse, leaves a large amount of money in the house, and only leaves with their phone? She was heavy on my heart.
A concerned community member, Alexis Savage, who led this effort at last month's game, says she's used social media to source information about the people Kelly may have been in contact with and shared it with Anchorage police.
I felt like I handed it over to them, and like I said, we don't really know what's becoming of it. So it kind of feels like there's nothing being done. I hope I'm wrong, but it really feels that way. There was no urgency in the beginning. The only people talking about it was basically me and her family. There's never any urgency until it's too late.
Anchorage police told us, quote, APD policies and procedures have been followed in response to the Kelly Hunt missing persons case, and said they posted on social media and their website. I spoke with Kelly's family. They want to extend a thank you to everyone who has helped search for her.
And we have more information about this investigation. Anyone with information on Kelly Hunt's whereabouts is encouraged to contact Anchorage Police at 311 or 907-786-8900. You can also submit tips to Crime Stoppers online at anchoragecrimestoppers.com.
All right, we tuning back into NaNTV, baby. We're talking about the missing indigenous women of Alaska. It's a never-ending story. You know, it's an everyday thing for the people that live out here, you know. Then you get these trolls, you know, trying to talk about Alaska politics, you know, trying to talk about Alaska and like they from Alaska, you know, and most of them, you know, ain't even from Alaska, to be honest with you. I don't know where they don't even, some of them ain't even from this country. You got all these trolls talking about Alaska, you know, people coming here thinking they gonna, you know, represent Alaska, and you ain't even from here. You know, the only reason I respect when Tex do it, because Tex came here, he intermingled himself with the streets. He came up from the bottom to the top, man. You know what I'm saying? He came here and he made his mark. You know? You other dudes is a bunch of trolls, man. I'm going to keep it 100 with you, man. And anybody got a problem, you already know what time it is. But yeah, all you trolls out there, quit trolling Alaska politics. Hey, hey, if you moved here from Florida or what's going on in your state? Matter of fact, how come you ain't worried about what's going on where you come from? You know what I'm saying? Why did you move from where you came from is a very good question. Can you not stay there no more? Did you do something, or did they chase you out of there? Did they catch you stealing food or something? You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. But yo, quit trolling Alaska issues, man. You know, it's not cool, man. It's kind of a sucker move if you ask me. But, you know, some people's are suckers. And that's what it is, man. But yeah, man. NaNTV gonna keep bringing you the real deal. You know, bringing you the real from the coldest place on earth, where indigenous women get kidnapped and never seen again. You know, And we got to do something about it. And the only way to stop this from happening is the heightened awareness. You need to be aware of your surroundings. You don't need to be out, free walking, hey, just walking along all nonchalantly, you know what I'm saying? Just being a dummy. I'm not saying you a dummy, but sometimes we think we get so comfortable in our everyday life that we think we could just walk down the street and everything gonna be fine. You don't know if there's somebody following you. You don't know if there's somebody mentally disturbed with a gun. You gotta be aware of your surroundings, because that one time that you're not aware of your surroundings could cost you your life. Look, this is probably what happened with Kelly Hunt. She probably met somebody who she thought was cool, and next thing you know, God only knows. And I guarantee you they're not going to get to the bottom of who did it. They found the body. Who's the person that did this to her? Why can't we find him? That's why I didn't respect that Missing Women of Alaska. They talked about one serial killer. They vaguely stressed on that this has been happening for a long time. Like, my mom grew up in Fairbanks, so and I can tell you she's got some horrific stories of about living on the street, and people coming up missing and being in foster care. My dad from Florida, Pensacola, and California, and he could tell some horrible stories about the foster care system, man. It's sad to this day that we still going through this systemic racism. It's just a bunch of bad stuff going on, man, and nobody seems to care because it's not in the budget. So you got to put it in your budget to protect yourself and your family, and it doesn't cost you anything. All you got to do is have a heightened sense of awareness. That means you know what's going on at all times. That means, to be honest, you shouldn't be drinking alcohol. It's bad for everybody. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to drink alcohol when you celebrating something. I don't bust out the bottles unless we celebrating. It's a birthday, or somebody that won $1 million, or somebody just bought $1 million house. We popping open the bottles. You're not supposed to just be drinking every day, like, and that brings your sense of awareness down, lowers your guard, matter of fact, and then you a victim, and the only one you can blame for that is yourself for drinking that liquor. That alcohol is not put here for you to enjoy it. It's here for you to mess up, so they can swoop in the moment you mess up. I remember when they disbanded Geronimo, the indigenous warriors, down there. They was disarming them. They was taking their guns away. After they was like, thank you for your service hunting down other indigenous people, right? And they was like, then they told them the rules. Everybody got to be in the house by 10 o'clock. No Indians are allowed to drink alcohol. No Indians are allowed to do that. They just started busting out a bunch of rules because they was like, well, what if one of you Indians get drunk, start, shooting up the place and all that? Then we got to deal with you. Well, what if one of you white people get drunk, start shooting up the place, and we got to deal with you? So it's like different rules for different people. They set different rules and different regulations on different races in America. Like being black pretty much is like the bottom of the barrel. Like we get trashed on. They talk bad about black people. That's gonna be my next story. Is gonna be a shocker. It's because I'm gonna talk about the transatlantic slave trade. I'm gonna tell you about the atrocities that these people did to the African American people. And had the rape, the murder, the kidnapping, the arson, anything you can name in the book, they done did to black people. You know what I'm saying? It's funny to this day. Me and my friend was talking, and we was like, the sharks in the Pacific Ocean, they really don't attack people. Like, they're like, you know, there's enough food, there's an abundance, they doing their thing. But the sharks in the Atlantic Ocean, right on that route that goes from, you know, eastern United States to Africa, that little route right there, the transatlantic slave trade route, going down to South America, all that, them sharks, a shark's great grandpappy was eating black people that they threw off of these boats. They would throw black people off boats, most of the time chained to each other like an anchor. That way the chain drag them all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. Or you did something on the boat and you got to be punished. They just throw you into the water with the sharks. And the sharks did so much eating. There's no telling of the number of African Americans that were murdered on the transatlantic trade, the slave trade. And I can guarantee you it's a whole lot more than you could possibly imagine. Because these sharks, to this day, still carry that DNA from their great grand shark who was eating black people. He got a taste for it. They got it in their blood. They got it in their DNA. They like, ooh, I want to eat people. That's why in the Atlantic Ocean, if you fall into that ocean, you liable, the shark liable to get you real fast. You're like, man, oh man, here's a human. We've been eating them for a long time. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, that's gonna be my next topic. But yeah, man, that's what it is with the missing women of Alaska, man. Everybody got to be on a sense of heightened awareness. Be aware of your surroundings. Don't be drinking alcohol, especially with strangers, you know. Make sure you're safe in your home. Everybody lock your doors and windows. And, you know, start profiling people while you out. Like, who's this nonchalant white dude here? You know what I'm saying? Just looking around. You know what I'm saying? Because racial profiling is, oh, look at this black dude. He got saggy pants. He got his hat turned back. Let me keep my eye on him. Like I was saying, how they racially profile black people, you know what I'm saying? Oh, he got his hat turned back. He got baggy pants on. And then, so now we need to start racially profiling middle-aged white guys or who knows, you know, just dudes wearing Dockers or something in a plaid shirt on or something, kind of looking suspicious. I'm gonna start profiling them, you know, because that's obviously who the killer is. But yeah, man, we're gonna keep on this topic, man. The missing women of Alaska and the missing men. You know, like I told you about that story with my mom and her friend Mona. You know, so yeah, we're gonna take a small break. We're gonna show some clips of this been going on for a long time, and yeah, you know what it is. NaNTV, baby.
A new missing Indigenous persons report announced today is the start of a new series of similar reports. It's meant to help the public and assist in battling the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous persons, who make up a staggeringly high number of missing persons cases in Alaska. There are two parts to this. Quarterly reports focused on those of Alaska Native and American Indian descent, along with any individuals with what the Department of Safety has deemed unknown race, and adding details to decades of information stored in the public database known as the Alaska Missing Persons Clearinghouse, to include information such as race and sex in past, present, and future missing persons cases.
So we kind of put our heads together with APD and the troopers, being the two largest law enforcement agencies in the state, to figure out how we could help both provide some additional information to the public, as well as kind of check off one of the goals on the MMIP council that the governor had created.
Now, this follows Governor Mike Dunleavy announcing that People First initiative in 2021, which included MMIP programming provisions. What you see here is some of the information included in this quarter's report. And remember, while these are data points, they represent real people. From April 1st to June 30th, the Department of Public Safety says 437 people were reported missing across all agencies in Alaska. Of those, 199 are Alaska Native, American Indian, or listed as being of an unknown race. And for cases reported to DPS or APD specifically, 33 of those involve Alaska Natives, American Indians, or those of unknown race. The circumstances are considered suspicious or unknown.
We hope that with DPS and APD having information at their fingertips, that we see it translate into meaningful action and different policies that are improved, and more coordination as well to improve, what's happening with folks across the state.
A reminder that you don't have to wait any period of time to report someone missing. Call 911 to report if needed. DPS says the plan is to release data on a quarterly basis.
The Anchorage Police Department is answering questions after confirming the body found in the Spenard area this week was Kelly Hunt. The 19-year-old from Chaktulik had been missing since January after she did not complete a planned trip from Anchorage to Soldotna, and APD says she was staying at a home just a few blocks from where her body was found near Lois and 36th. Anchorage Police Chief Sean Case says the case is considered a death investigation, and APD is continuing to collect evidence and work the case. This is what he had to say when we asked if foul play was suspected.
We will continue through the process until we get to the end of the line where we can make that determination on whether this is going to be closed as a death investigation, or whether we're going to transfer this over and consider it a homicide investigation.
The chief did not say how long her body had been where it was, citing an ongoing investigation and pending the medical examiner's report.
Anytime one of our young people go missing and then they end up deceased, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy for the community. It's, in this case, a tragedy for the Alaska Native community. And we realize that, there's a lot of concerns that people have when these investigations go on for long periods of time. And unfortunately, we can't give every bit of information we have through every step of the investigation, but we're certainly committed to giving as much information as we can along the way.
APD says the medical examiner will determine how she died, and no one has been arrested. Hunt's family told us APD notified them last night that her body had been found. They wrote a statement thanking everyone for helping search for her. That statement is available on our website.
All right, we back on NaNTV. You know what it is, man. That was our topic for today, was the missing Native women of Alaska. The still missing women of Alaska. Yeah, it's a very important topic. Me and my auntie, matter of fact, we know Cassandra Boskovsky. And yeah, she used to date my brother, Dominic. So, she's like family to us. And we're going to go out and we're going to take the whole family out. And we're going to look in that area where they never say they found her, because they're not really trying to look anyway. We got to put forth the effort for our own people. If we don't do it, who going to do it for us, Because they're not going to use that taxpayer funded money to go find no missing Native people. That's not on the agenda. It's not. So here, I pulled up some fun facts for y'all before we end this episode today. Minorities versus other races missing in Alaska. Let's read what I found. Approximately 40% of missing persons in the U.S. are people of color, while white individuals comprise the majority of total cases, roughly 57 to 60%. Minorities, particularly Black Americans, are significantly overrepresented relative to their percentage of the total U.S. population. Key data on missing minorities versus other races. Disproportionate representation. Black Americans account for roughly 30% to over 37% of missing person cases, despite representing only about 13 to 14% of the U.S. population. Minority data breakdown. According to Black and Missing Foundation data, 40% of missing persons are people of color, while according to the Statista research in 2024, there were 193,461 Black people missing, 11,507 Asian, and 10,248 American Indian missing person files. Crazy. Missing children. Disparity. Research suggests Black children make up a disproportionate share of missing juveniles, with some reports citing that they constitute over 35% of missing children cases in the FBI database. Media coverage. Research shows that missing children and adults of color are significantly underrepresented in news media coverage compared to white individuals. often leading to fewer resources in finding them. Wow. These statistics demonstrate that while white individuals make up the majority of missing person entries, minority populations are overrepresented, with Black Americans in particular being at higher risk of going missing compared to their white counterparts. That's pretty interesting. So that means minorities come up, even though we not that many, we come up missing more because there's a lack of, looking for us. There's a lack of media coverage. Hey, this Black person's missing. They ain't putting that up. Hey, this Native lady's missing. Hey, this Spanish lady's missing. She can't even speak English. They're not posting that on the media. So anybody, my outlet is here for the people. So anybody got any gripes or problems with what's going on with society, my media will report on it, since nobody else will. We're going to bring it to the forefront, because that's what NaNTV is about. It's for the people. But yeah, man, thank y'all for tuning in today, man. We're going to keep bringing you the real from the coldest place on earth. You know what it is. KILLANPUBLISHing Entertainment, NaNTV. We stay in tune with the streets and we report the facts. We ain't no trolls and we ain't no suckers. And we just here to, bring the entertainment to the people, and also the real stories that matter. I'm tired of turning on a good documentary about some shit I don't even care about. That's why we bringing you the transatlantic slave trade, and I got a bunch of more stuff coming that's gonna shock you. So everybody stay tuned. Have a blessed day. You know what it is. NaNTV, baby. We out of here.
The Tanana Chiefs Conference in Fairbanks dedicated a plaque and benches in the memory of missing and murdered Indigenous persons. Organizers say it's a permanent symbol of love and resilience, as well as a place for people to grieve. And today's dedication was at the Chief David Salmon Tribal Hall, where multiple MMIP rallies have been held over the years. Some family members who spoke shared their memories of loved ones that they've lost, and that support to continue searching for answers.
We are ensuring that these voices are not silenced and these families are not left behind. This dedication is a commitment to never forget those we have lost and those who are still missing. Each name, each story, each life matters. And today, through this simple but powerful memorial, we say clearly, you are not forgotten.
The memorial, located in downtown Fairbanks near the Chena River.